Yesterday, we were not given the timely opportunity to speak on this important topic, so I appreciate that we can at last finally speak now. In the future, I would suggest that more value can be gained from the INGO's unique consumer and industry perspectives if their verbal comments can be heard at the same time as the specific issues discussed, rather than waiting to the end, the very end of an agenda item, and even then only if time permits. IPFRI, for example, could have offered us much insight on this issue, and NHF would have very much liked to have heard from IPFRI. We ourselves had to wait yesterday 2 hours and 20 minutes in order to get a chance to not even speak, so I appreciate that we can speak now. Having said that, on this issue of the biofortification definition, let me first say that NHF has nothing but the utmost respect for IPFRI and its sponsor. These are good people doing good things, but we do have concerns. Although NHF was an early supporter of the biofortification definition, we have since come to see that the biofortification concept is in the process of being hijacked and being converted from something good into something bad. We think that if Codex is to allow these words, such as any methods of production and any potential source, to be part of the biofortification definition, and we see the cleaned up version is really no different, then Codex will be engaging in marketing deception of the worst sort, and this should not be allowed. Most consumers, and we are the National Health Federation, a consumer organization, most consumers want GM foods labeled. Consumer polls across the world show this to be true. In the United States alone, some 90% of the US population is in favor of labeling foods as GM, and yet here, this proposed definition will seek to disguise GM foods under the term biofortification. This is dishonest, it's disgraceful, and for all of those sincerely concerned with the credibility and transparency of Codex, you should absolutely, positively oppose this definition. So, the National Health Federation is opposed to adding in the following wording. 1, any potential sources. 2, this process applies to any method of production. And 3, the footnote number 5, if it's still in the revised definition that was done overnight without our input from yesterday or even last night. On the last wording, NHF feels that letting national authorities determine whether GM foods are included within the definition is simply a backdoor way to include GM foods within that definition. You know, I thought we were trying to harmonize our standards here, and it makes much more sense for us to have a solid, non-misleading definition, or else, as the Russians said, we have no definition at all, and let's not have one. Let's just put this work aside. And for the reasons already expressed by the European Union, and these reasons we support, we have a problem with the term itself, as the word bio is almost universally recognized as being synonymous with organic. So why is that and part of the term? But we also note, kind of very sadly in passing, that we have come to this point of time in our history where we must manipulate our natural foods to provide better nutrition, all because we have engaged in such incredibly poor agricultural practices that we have seen a 50% decline in the vitamin and mineral content of our foods over the last 50 years. So now here we are trying to do unnaturally what nature would normally provide for us. NHF mentioned this problem back at the 2005 CCNFSDU meeting. Regardless, though, of where we find ourselves today, we will not remedy poor nutrition by engaging in deceptive marketing practices and sleight of hand with this definition. NHF urges this committee to have a clear and non-misleading definition as was originally envisioned at the 2015 meeting, where, as the Australian delegation so correctly said, the original 2012 document on the scope of biofortification excluded GM techniques. Thank you.
Dankeschön, NHS.